Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be talking about a potential signing for the Detroit Pistons. As the other day, it was reported by Bleacher Report and Yahoo Sports that the Detroit Pistons are going to be pursuing two small forwards in NBA free agency this offseason, Cameron Johnson and Jeremy Grant. Already talked about it in a separate video about Jeremy Grant yesterday or last night about the potential signing for the Detroit Pistons, and I looked over and talked about the point of view for if Detroit signed Jeremy Grant. Tried to stay away from Cam Johnson, knowing I was going to talk about Cam Johnson in a separate vid. And now I'm here to talk about Cam Johnson and a potential signing for the Detroit Pistons. As I will, before I get started, both signings would be great for Detroit, but I do think the Grant one is more realistic. Even though I honestly think neither one of these signings are really realistic. And I'll say this because I think Jeremy Grant, that is a real possibility of happening. But right now, I really see the Sacramento Kings, making a huge push for Jeremy Grant. We haven't really heard anything, but Sacramento is going to be looking for a replacement for Harrison Barnes, who's a free agent. And I think Harrison Barnes would resign there, but they probably want a better player in at the small forward/power forward for next season so they can improve the roster and become better. You add in Jeremy Grant, who averaged 20.5 points per game with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis and a second-year Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter and also Malik Monk. The Kings are going to be better next season. If you add in Jeremy Grant, lose Harrison Barnes, they're going to be way better than they were last year. So in that case, I think Sacramento is probably going to make a huge push for Jeremy Grant. But I think that, and also now reportedly is that Portland's trying to re-sign Jeremy Grant too. So Portland and Sacramento is going to be after Jeremy Grant. Maybe some other surprise teams will be as well. I think Detroit's probably one of the top teams to get him, but I don't know. I think some other teams are going to be making a big push for him. And his tenure in Detroit was very rough. He didn't really like it there that much and wanted out. And I know that things have changed in Detroit where Monty Williams is the new head coach. Cade Cunningham is now in his third year compared to when he was on his first when Jeremy Grant was there. They have Jaden Ivey. They probably going to add in a guy like Cam Whitmore or Jarice Walker with the 5th overall pick. They have Jalen Duren. They have cap space in free agency. They have trade leverage with different players and picks. So this is a different Detroit Pistons team. But I don't know if I see that signing happening. But the Cam Johnson signing, it makes sense. The Cam Johnson signing, it makes sense. Averaged 15.5 points per game this season with 4 rebounds per game. A really solid defender and shot 40% from 3. And he has history with Monty Williams. We heard how after the Kevin Durant trade happened and Kevin Durant got sent to the Phoenix Suns, Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, we heard about how upset Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges were that they were leaving Phoenix. And one of the biggest reasons they were upset is because they were going to miss Coach Monty. And now with Detroit interested in Cam Johnson, I can't help to think, is this Monty Williams doing? And I think the biggest thing of stopping Cam Johnson and becoming as a Detroit Piston is with Cam Johnson being a restricted free agent. The Nets have been reported that they're going to match any offer they get, any offer that comes to Cam Johnson's way. So I think the Pistons are going to have to overpay on Cam Johnson, or the point where maybe Cam Johnson takes a less deal for Detroit over a bigger deal for Brooklyn to play for his former coach, Monty Williams. I don't know. But Brooklyn is expected to match any offer that will be made to Cam Johnson. In that case, I don't know where I really see a way where Cam Johnson doesn't really re-sign with Brooklyn. Unless Cam Johnson decides I'm going to take less money to play for Detroit and my old head coach, then I don't really know, but both would be great signings for Detroit. We'll see what happens. But it's looking like, Detroit is prepared. I mean, it's looking like Brooklyn's prepared to match any offer. So I think the most likely signing out of the two is definitely Jeremy Grant. But Cam Johnson, in my opinion, I think Cam Johnson would be a better fit on this Pistons team than Jeremy Grant. He has a relationship with Monty Williams. I think, he's a little younger than Jeremy Grant as well. I think Jeremy Grant's around 29, 30 years old. Cam Johnson, I think Grant is 30. He's either 31, 30, or 29 or something like that. Cam Johnson just turned 27, and he looks way younger than 27. He looks like he's like 25 years old, and he plays young though. And not only that, but he's a great player, and honestly, I think he fits the Detroit team better. He's an amazing shooter, amazing defender, great team player. Great 3-and-D player, and I really do think it would be a great signing for the Detroit Pistons. I think it's all going to depend on what happens with the Nets matching an offer. But you guys have your thoughts. It's for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.